In the cold, unforgiving waters of Lake Michigan, off the rugged, wind-battered shores of Door County, Wisconsin, lies Rock Island, a place cloaked in silence and superstition. Tourists today know it for its scenic trails and the picturesque Potawatomi lighthouse, but the island holds a history so dark that locals still speak of it in hushed tones. Beneath its quiet beauty lies a story that has been buried for over a century, a story that begins with a man named Elias Thorne, the lighthouse keeper whose mysterious disappearance in November of 1903 remains one of the most chilling, unsolved cases in American history. Elias was a decorated Civil War veteran, a man known for his stoic demeanor and meticulous nature. Assigned to Rock Island in 1899, he became a solitary figure, maintaining the lighthouse with military precision. His logbooks, found years later, reveal a man devoted to order and routine. He documented everything: the movement of passing ships, sudden weather changes, the precise time he lit the lamp each night. But in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, his entries grew increasingly erratic. Mentions of strange voices on the wind and unseen watchers crept into his daily reports, though no one paid much attention at the time. His final entry, dated November 17, 1903, contained only 3 cryptic words: "They are here." The following morning, a supply boat from the mainland arrived to deliver winter provisions. What the crew found was deeply unsettling. The lighthouse door was locked from the inside, yet the great lantern atop the tower had been extinguished, its flames snuffed out at the very hour it was most needed. Inside, a kettle sat boiling on the stove as though Elias had just stepped away. His bed was neatly made, his boots polished and placed by the door. But of Elias himself there was no sign. A thorough search of the island turned up footprints leading toward the northern cliffs, but they stopped abruptly at the edge, as if he had simply vanished into thin air. The official investigation concluded that Elias had fallen victim to madness brought on by isolation and had thrown himself into the icy waters of Lake Michigan. But many locals refused to believe this explanation. Old fishermen and descendants of the island's first settlers whispered of the Children of the Deep, an ancient cult rumored to have existed long before European settlers arrived. According to legend, they worshipped primordial spirits said to dwell beneath the black waters surrounding Rock Island. Over generations, the cult faded into obscurity, but sightings persisted: pale, silent figures standing at the water's edge during storms, their faces hidden beneath rough burlap hoods. For years, the case remained a grim piece of local lore until 1919. When a historian named Margaret Voss journeyed to Rock Island to document its ruins and the now-abandoned lighthouse. During her exploration, she discovered a hidden compartment beneath a loose floorboard in the lighthouse bedroom. Inside lay Elias's private journal, separate from his official logbook. Its contents were far more disturbing. Elias wrote of being plagued by whispers in the fog, of chanting echoing through the forest at night, and of seeing pale, waterlogged children watching him from the tree line at dawn. He claimed that they never approached, only stared, their heads tilting in unison like marionettes. The final entry was abruptly cut off mid-sentence, the ink smeared as though his hand had been violently snatched away. Margaret brought the journal back to the mainland, intending to publish her findings. But before she could do so, tragedy struck. In December of 1919, a mysterious fire consumed her home, killing her instantly. Strangely, investigators noted that only Margaret's study burned, while the rest of the house remained intact. The journal, which had been kept on her desk, was never recovered. Some believe it was destroyed in the fire, while others whisper that it was taken by someone determined to keep the island's secrets hidden. By the 1930s, Rock Island had gained a sinister reputation. Park rangers tasked with maintaining the area reported hearing footsteps pacing inside the sealed lighthouse at night, even though the building had been locked and shuttered for decades. In 1946, 2 teenage boys camping illegally on the island were found at sunrise, their faces ghostly pale. They were alive but completely mute, and to this day, neither has ever spoken another word about what they saw that night. Then, in 1978, a maintenance crew repairing the crumbling foundation of the lighthouse stumbled upon something horrifying. Behind a section of rotted wood, they discovered a hidden stone chamber, Inside were 3 rusted child-sized shackles bolted to the wall, and scraps of waterlogged cloth bearing the same symbol Elias had carved into his walls, the emblem of the children of the deep. When the workers reported their find, officials quickly sealed off the area and declared the discovery structural debris from an earlier building. The shackles were quietly removed, and no photographs were ever released to the public. The strange events did not end there. In 1991, a group of college students visited the island to film a documentary about Wisconsin's haunted locations. They camped near the lighthouse, recording hours of footage. When they returned to the mainland, they discovered that every second of their video was blank, save for a single frame showing 7 blurred figures standing shoulder to shoulder near the forest's edge. Their faces were obscured and their eyes appeared to reflect light like an animal's. Terrified, the students abandoned their project and most refused to speak of it to this day. Today, Rock Island State Park welcomes thousands of visitors each year, many of whom have no idea of its dark history. The lighthouse has been restored for public tours, its walls freshly painted, its terrifying past neatly erased. But locals say that on cold November nights, the exact anniversary of Elias's disappearance, a pale light flickers in the lantern room, even though there is no electricity connected to it. Some claim to have seen a lone figure standing at the top of the tower, staring out toward the lake before vanishing into the fog. In 2019, a kayaker exploring the shoreline at dusk captured chilling footage with his phone. The video shows a group of small, unmoving figures standing in a perfect line at the tree line, watching silently as the fog rolls in. Moments later, the figures are gone. The video was uploaded to social media, where it gained thousands of views overnight. By morning, the account had been deleted, and the original file had vanished from the uploader's phone. The kayaker himself refused to speak publicly, telling friends only that he saw what Elias saw. To this day, the fate of Elias Thorne remains officially unsolved. But deep within the archives of a small, forgotten Door County museum lies one final piece of evidence. A black-and-white photograph, dated November 18, 1903, the morning after Elias disappeared. The image shows the lighthouse standing silent and dark, but in the distant tree line, 7 indistinct figures can be seen, standing shoulder to shoulder, their heads bowed. On the back of the photograph, scrawled in shaky, faded handwriting, are 4 chilling words. They are still here,